Welcome to the Daily Dance with your host, Brad Richardson.
And there we go. Hi, everybody. Good to see everyone today. And it is Wednesday, March 15th. Hope you're all having a good week. You've made it halfway. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. And I hope that everything's going well for you. We're having a little bit of rain and weather for the spring where I'm at, and we're glad for that. Can use a little bit more of that. Know that you all, wherever you are probably all looking forward to a change in seasons. We usually are. And I'm always glad for the changes in seasons that carry us forward. So looking forward to getting to the end of spring and into summer, and who knows what fun we're going to have. Now, of course, I'm assuming most of you that are watching are in the U.S., or at least in this hemisphere. If it's flipped, I've got relatives in New Zealand and down under, so I understand they've got the complete opposite there. But wherever you are, I hope you're doing well and enjoying what the day has brought you. Today's episode, we are going to be looking at goals, looking at achievement, looking at how we define success. And that's an important question to ask. It's an important question to answer. And we're going to dig in just enough into that to hopefully leave us with some simple steps going forward that can help you in your journey, which is different from everybody else's. So before we dive in, it is the Daily Dance. We do our dance daily. That means we every day, to get our day off to a good start and to get our minds in a better place, at least than where we've been, we do a little dance to encourage ourselves and move ourselves into a headspace where we're ready to tackle the day. So let's go ahead and do our dance together. And there we go. Did you do your dance? Are you still doing your dance? You can still be dancing. You don't have to stop just because the music stopped. I often say when I was doing music myself, I was always trying to get people to dance to the music inside of my head. You can at least dance to the music inside of your own. That is allowed. So what are we doing today? We're talking about, what do you want to succeed at? What do you want to succeed at? I'm not sure putting the at the end of that phrase is even proper English, but I don't care. I can think of how else to throw that up there. I just want us all to think about how we're measuring success in our lives, specifically how you measure it for you. It can seem like a simple question up front. You've probably, you think you've thought about it. I want to put it to you that maybe you haven't thought about it as much as you think, or at least you haven't gotten to an answer like you thought you had. The way that we dig into this question, there's a way to dig into this that's going to open things up maybe a little bit more for you, because I think sometimes what we think we're pressing for and our goals aren't really the goals we want. They aren't really the goals that we want. We think they are, but they're not. How does that happen? Well, let's talk about that. I'm just going to break down to a few different a few different items here. First, let's talk about success versus fulfillment. Success versus fulfillment. Now, you can be successful and not be fulfilled. I hope everybody realizes that. I hope everybody realizes that. The report that we get from back down the mountain when someone climbs the mountain of success and they get to the top and they've attained whatever it is they thought they needed to attain, whether it's money, fame, power, you name it, possessions, materialism. They get to the top of all that, of so much of what we in our society would term success. And they call back down the mountain and let us know, hey guys, you know what I hoped to find up here? All the fulfillment and happiness and all that. It's not here. That's a consistent report that we get back from those that have sacrificed everything, and they get there and they realize it's not all that they thought it would be. I'm all for succeeding in career and materially and provision and all those things. There's reasons why that's good, but if you're aiming for the wrong thing, it's not going to fulfill you. And frankly, I think when we think of success, fulfillment is part of that, isn't it? Don't we want to succeed? Because in succeeding, that's what it's completing a goal. It's completing something so that we will feel fulfilled in completing it. And we do. I mean, there is a fulfillment that comes from that, but it's not the fulfillment we're usually looking for. It's not lasting. It's very temporary and fleeting. And that type of success brings with it all of its own stresses. And so it's, if you get there, you do have the gift of at least learning that lesson concretely and firsthand, that making it all the way up that mountaintop isn't bringing you the fulfillment that you thought it would, and you realize maybe your goals were askew. And so now let's go on to, and related to that, is success versus accomplishment. Success versus accomplishment. Now, why do I put those on opposite sides, one versus the other? Don't they go together, success and accomplishment? They can, but they don't necessarily go together. And this is where I want to start to break those things apart. Success versus accomplishment. Just because you have accomplished a lot of things in your life, you still may not be successful. Are you starting to see where I'm going with this? What I'm trying to do is lead us down a path here of redefining success for us, because success, if for you success equals accomplishment, that's actually going to, and maybe this should have been point one and the other should have been point two, because if you consider success equals accomplishment, then you're going to be really puzzled when you succeed, or when you accomplish what you intended to, and then that fulfillment isn't there. Does that make sense? So you see, there's because a lot of times, wouldn't you look at success and go, well, success equals accomplishment? They go together. Yes, in our minds they kind of do, but I think that's a wrong use of the term success. Is to just link it to accomplishment, because now you're just on a performance treadmill. And is there a way to be successful without necessarily accomplishing all your goals? Yeah, there is, and we're going to look at that a little bit more. So we're starting to see, so success versus fulfillment, not necessarily the same thing. Success versus accomplishment, not necessarily the same thing. And then what's left now is success versus success. What do I mean? It's like, well, there's the success we all think about, succeeding, again, job, position materially versus success. And I'm discovering myself that the greatest success that you can have is to be spending your time and your effort in something that you believe in something that you're spending your days, your limited days, which we all have limited time on this earth, and you're spending your days on something that you believe in. And you can succeed in that even if the endeavor fails. And let me back that up a little bit, referring back to when I was doing music again. We didn't succeed in the sense that a lot of us as musicians would hope to. Okay, that when we go down that path, we think about getting the record deal, playing in front of sold out stadiums, making lots of money. So we didn't do that. We got as far as the A&R office of Capitol Records was as far as we got, which is a lot farther than many get. And we got to play and do some small tours across the country. And I got to do that with my kids, with my oldest kids. It was a family band. And we can look at that, and I often do, because in my mind, I very much wanted the other type of success that we've talked about. I did want to be able to make that our living. I did want to be able to have, the big crowds and all of that. That's fun. As a performer, that's awesome. But I can tell you that as we did our music and as we played around the country, that I felt successful because I was getting to do it with my kids whom I love. I was doing what I believe I was made to do. When I stood on stage and sang my songs, and especially when you started to hear the crowd sing those songs back. So you had that connection with the audience and doing it with people that I love. To me, that was the picture of success. That was the picture of success. If everything else would have come along, it would have been even better. It could have lasted longer. It would have enhanced it, maybe. It could have also destroyed it, right? So that is really my picture of success. And I'm coming back to that because I realize so much of the stress in life, speaking for myself, so much of the stress in life, I think, comes from when we are just misaligned. We're misaligned and we're doing things that we don't have that kind of fulfillment. We don't get that kind of fulfillment from. We don't have something that we believe in enough. And when I say believe in, it doesn't have to be some great cause, but just what your business does and what you're doing to help, that it's something you feel okay about. It settles with you in your soul that, yeah, I'm happy enough to be helping this business succeed and these people succeed and to help in the way. And I'm getting to utilize at least enough of my gifts and abilities so that I'm able to help them. And that gives you a feeling of success. If I can do that and pay the bills, that's success. That's success. Not necessarily all the achievements and not necessarily all the, all the milestones that we would attach to success quite often. And the thing is, there's so much in our culture that want to sell us on the idea that you have to have this kind of job or live in this kind of house and do all these kinds of things to succeed. And that is painted to us as the image of success and as part of the American dream, right? Which I believe in the American dream, but I think the American dream is more of what I'm talking about. The opportunity to self-determine your own future enough, put yourself in a position where who you are gets to flourish and be of a benefit in a situation, to be in a situation where your gifts, your talents, and who you uniquely are is welcome and wanted and gets to flourish and gets to benefit those around you. Does that make sense? Does that align with you and your thoughts on it? Maybe that you're just not in that season of life yet. Maybe things are going well for you in career and money, and you're enjoying that. And and more power to you. There is joy in that whole process. But I don't know how often that is even sustainable if these other boxes aren't being checked off, of where you don't have enough of a fit in where you are in career and life to be able to be you, the best version of you. And if it isn't drawing out the best in you and helping you become the best version of you, then that's success, ideally. Now, let me back it up a little bit, because obviously we can't always be in the ideal situation for us. So I think it helps to pivot and make sure that, there are other goals. You have a family that you're providing for, and you're able to do that well, and they're happy and they're healthy. That's success too. Okay. So don't get in this in your head of that. Oh, well, it's got to be just something that fits me like a glove and I'm super comfortable. No. If you're in a life stage, in a situation where, look, the goal right now is to pay the bills and is to provide enough for my family and those I love. And that's my job and that's my responsibility. And I'm doing that and I'm able to do that well. That's its own type of success. But don't, just because you're doing that, I would also say it doesn't mean you have to stop trying to find and hop to and move to a situation that allows you to excel in these other ways as well. Because frankly, if the better of a situation you find yourself in career wise, job wise, where a lot of these other measures for success are being met, you're going to have a lot more resources left for your family, for when you go home at night, for a lot of what I would deem the more important things as well. So it's not zero sum. It's not all of one or the other. And both are acceptable in their season and in their time. But what I do want to get us away from, obviously, is just this idea that success has to be, and is, that the term success is just tied into materialism, and it's just tied into accomplishment, and it's just tied into all these things that end up being tied into ego, really, selfishness and self-centeredness and ego. And you can't have that. That will destroy you. Your success needs to be tied to things outside of your own ego. It needs to be tied to back to a recurring theme on the Daily Dance, which really is giving, and giving of yourself, and being in a situation where you're able to do that, to give of what you have and your talents that you have, because that's how you end up really succeeding. Consistently, because you can always determine, you can choose to give every day. You can't choose the outcomes, right? We've talked about that. And so when you get to be in a situation where you get to give of the talents and gifts that you have, and you're useful there and appreciated, and able to benefit those around you in the business you work for or the business you've built, in which case you're benefiting your clients, that's a measure of success. And I believe that's what I'm trying to get at. When I was on stage and I felt just that completeness, just that sense of fulfillment, in a way of where it's just, I'm right in the middle of what I'm supposed to be doing and what I was made to do. Getting to that place as much as possible while taking care of all the other things as well is something worth striving for, and it'll help keep you from going crazy. Because if you just take care of the basics and then you don't, and you feel like, okay, well, I'm fulfilling my responsibilities, but at the same time you're dying inside, I mean, that bill is going to come due at some point, and you'll pay the price for it, and your family and everyone. So you need to be able to redefine success into, first of all, start with just needing to be able to give of who you are and what you are, because you can always do that somewhat. So you're always going to have some success, even in the tough seasons of life. You can still make the choice to give. So that's number one. Your goal every day is to give, and you can control that, and you get to choose that. Number two, then go on from there. And yes, you do want to find circumstances and situations where you're able to do that more, and circumstances that invite that in you and cultivate that in you. And as you go through life, as you find different jobs, different teams where you fit better, to help cultivate that more. But the goal is still giving. It's just now you're getting into a situation where you're able to give more. There's a natural fit for what you can give and what they need. And then that helps that grow. And then number three, understand that we're not just talking about business either, that, in your personal life, you'll always have the choice there to give and to serve. And as you do that, you will always be succeeding as well. And if you do that, not out of ego, but out of just wanting to find where you can be most useful, out of that desire to serve, then you're going to find a kind of success and a kind of contentment and a kind of fulfillment that you won't find any other way. Does involve you being willing to let go of a lot of the other things. And sometimes that means having to let go of worrying about the opinions of others. Maybe there's people you've been trying to impress, right? You've been wanting to show that you're a success. And so now, problem with that is you get locked into other people's version and definition of success, and you don't want to do that. You need to hold to your own. So you need to let that go. You got to let go of the opinions of others, and you have got to determine what success means to you. And I would just encourage you to think of the things we just listed as the things that help determine what will determine success for you, instead of the money and the fame and power and position and all these other things. Okay, so I hope that makes enough sense. That didn't come out as clearly as I would have hoped, but I think you see what I'm trying to get at. So homework. I think the simplest thing and the way to help accomplish what I'm trying to point at is just spend some time and define your own finish line. Define your finish line, because when we think of success, usually we're thinking, how do we know we succeeded? It's because we've crossed this finish line. We reached this goal that we had. And when I accomplish that, then I have succeeded. So you need to define your finish line. What is the finish line for you? It can be loads of smaller finish lines. There can be the ultimate finish line, the big things, but you need to determine that. And I think if you start to write down what is it that you're trying, what is the goal you're trying to attain right now? What are the goals that you have in your life? Write those down. Take a look at them, and then determine, are these really the goals that you want? Be honest with yourself. You don't have to show it to anybody else. So be honest with yourself. What are you really aiming for right now? And then look at that list, and you have to ask yourself, are those goals worthy of my time? Are they worthy of my investment? Are these worthwhile goals, or are they things that are just driven by ego and other people's opinions? Am I trying to prove something to people around me who really oftentimes aren't people that you should be thinking about at all? They don't think of you probably in the way that you think. And are you looking for others' approval? The approval of people that you don't need their approval. You don't want to live your life for other people in that way. There are people whose opinions we all do care about. Your spouse, maybe parents, depending on your relationship, kids, family. There are people that are important to us. Some of that is okay, but ultimately you have to define goals that are going to not just help you find fulfillment. They need to be goals that when you get to those goals and you attain those goals, that you look at yourself in the mirror and I can't think of anything else to say except that you feel good about yourself. It should feel like you fulfilled a conviction. You kept faith with yourself and with that which you know to be good and right and true. Okay, it needs to be, those goals need to be there. So when you cross those finish lines, there's not the letdown, because you're like, okay, I crossed that finish line, I did that thing, and tick it off the list, and now what? And you're just on to the next thing. It should bring a sense of fulfillment to you, that it leaves a good deposit inside your soul, right? If something you carry with you, that I accomplished that, I did that, and that was worthwhile, and I sacrificed, I worked for it, I did it, and I feel good about that. That I take something with me in that, even if it didn't fulfill all the things I would have hoped, even if it didn't, maybe it's a job that you did where you didn't make all the money you wanted or didn't get all the promotions you'd hoped, but the work you did there, you're very proud of. You helped people, you learned a lot, and then you can take that with you as you go, right? That's worthwhile, and those are good finish lines to want to cross. Did I help who I was trying to help? Did I move things in a good direction? Did I do it with integrity? You've got to make up your own list. So define your finish line, and then you can go on from there for bigger ones in life. When you look back, what do you want to be able to say that you accomplished, that you succeeded at? And that can be a lot of different things. Did you succeed at loving well, right? Did you succeed at I don't know, helping your community, being a benefit to your community? Were you able to do that? Did you succeed in that you continued to grow, and the gap between your convictions, your stated convictions in your life, and your actions, did you fill that gap? Because often there's a gap there, right? Of things that we say we believe in, and yet our actions don't match up and we fail ourselves. Have you grown in that? So I don't know. You have to come up with your own list, but you need to define your finish line. And if you do that, this will play out. This will work itself out in your career and in your work life as well. It will. And that will be beneficial to you and everyone around you. But you can't get caught up in the idea of success being the stereotypical, what we all in many ways are trained and taught by media and society to think of as success. And a few of those things, the smaller goals along the way, can still be fine. I think, shoot, if there is a car you've always wanted to own, that could be a small goal along the way. But boy, don't make that kind of thing a very important or big goal. Don't that shouldn't have to bear any weight. That goal shouldn't in your life. As far as trying to make something like that foundational to your motivation, that's a small thing. That's a treat. That's a sometimes food, right? That shouldn't be a mainstay of what your goals are for your life and how you define success. So I think that's all I have on that. Just an encouragement for all of you. So go and define your finish line. Think about it real hard. Write down what you've been pressing toward right now, what you've been working toward. Take some time and think about it. Are those things really worth your time? Are they really worth your effort? And if they're not, then what are you going to do to change that? What do you want your goals to be? What do you want your finish line and your and even your temporary checkpoints along the way? What do you want those to be? What are worthwhile to you? What do really matter to you? Not what does everybody else think about it. What matters to you, and what will matter to you if you've actually sacrificed various things, time and resources to accomplish those things. What goals will, once you've done that and you've made those sacrifices and you attain them, will you look back and be 100% okay with? That was a worthwhile goal. That was something worth my life. And then make that list and continue to refine that as the years go on, and continue to check in with yourself. Are you keeping faith with yourself and the things that are important to you, that really do matter to you? And then go after it. And I think this is tied up. Last thought is just, I think this is part of what's tied up in when you hear different other speakers, business speakers, when they talk about doing what you love. To me, this is what's tied up in that. And I'm not a complete fan of the do what you love. I understand what they're saying, and I agree with the sentiment. But we get messed up in thinking about doing what I love, right? Because I'm just going to do the thing that I like to do. That it's this hobby right now, and it's something. I enjoy doing it, so it's so fun for me. I don't know. I think doing what you love, it needs to be a little more profound and meaningful than that. Because if you just do what you love, quite often what you love can change from season to season. And I think we need to have things. And gosh, okay, it's okay for that to change somewhat, but on the whole, if you really love something, it should be something you're committed enough to that you're going to stay with it longer term, and it's going to be something that that you're willing to go through all the hardships and sacrifices for again, and you get to the end and you say, yes, that was worth it. In and of itself, there was intrinsic value there, that it was worth it, even if I didn't accomplish as much in it as I had hoped. But the endeavor itself, what I was doing in and of itself and how I was doing it, was worth my life. It was worth my time. And I feel good about that. I sit there and there's that sense of fulfillment in it, that yes, I did that. So make your list, define your finish line, and see where that takes you. See if that doesn't help you maybe move ahead somewhat in your life and into where you're going. So hope that helps. Thanks again. Always appreciate, and I'm thankful for the chance to share my thoughts with you. Look forward to talking to you next time when we pick up a few other topics that will be as helpful, I hope. So thank you. Love to all of you. And we will talk to you again soon. Thanks.